Good morning, everyone. My name is Ms. Choi. Today we're going to be, my lesson will be on Chapter 4 of Invisible Man. And the focus will be on figurative language. So all of you should have a copy of your Invisible Man text. If not, I do have extra copies. So just raise your hand if you do not have an Invisible Man text, and I will give you a hard copy. Okay. Can you pass this to the back? Anyone else need a copy of Chapter 4 of Invisible Man? Everyone else has a copy with your book? Great. Does anyone need a pencil? If I have a few extra pencils, but all of you have your pencils? And pens, great. Okay. All right. All right, before we get started reading passages of Invisible Man, I would like to talk about two kinds of figurative language that are used throughout the novel, and they are used particularly in Chapter 4. The first is simile. A simile is a comparison between two distinctly different things explicitly indicated by the words like or as. One example is from a poem, "Oh, my love's like a red, red rose." And this is a poem by Robert Burns. Another example is from The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, which some of you may have read before, by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. And he says, "An ice mast high came floating by, as green as emerald." So as you can see, he's comparing, in the first one he's comparing a love to a red rose, and in the second one the poet is comparing ice as to an emerald. And the second kind of figurative language that's significant in Invisible Man is personification. Personification is when an inanimate object or an abstract concept is spoken of as though it were endowed with life or with human attributes or feelings. One example is from John Milton's Paradise Lost. In it he says, "Sky lowered and muttering thunder, some sad drops wept at completing of the mortal sin." So in this example, the drops of water are portrayed as weeping, which is, so they're given kind of human qualities. So that's one example of personification. Another example is from a poem by Elizabeth Barrett Browning, and that goes, "Then land, then England, oh, the frosty cliffs looked cold upon me." And in this example, the frosty cliffs are portrayed as looking coldly upon the speaker of the poem. So the significance of figurative language in Invisible Man is that Ellison uses figurative language throughout Invisible Man to convey information about the character, setting, and plot. In Chapter 4, simile and personification are used throughout to describe characters and the Invisible Man's psychological and emotional state. So the next thing I want everyone to do is, I would like some of you to volunteer to read passages of Chapter 4. So everyone, can you turn to the first page of Chapter 4 of your Invisible Man text? And I'll get my copy. So, for the first one, we will start at page 99. At the very first sentence, I headed the car through the Redwood campus. Can I have someone volunteer to read just a few sentences from this chapter? And yes, go ahead.
I headed the car through the Redwood campus gatepost with a sense of cold apprehension. Now even the rows of neat dormitories seemed to threaten me, the rolling lawns appearing as hostile as the gray highway with its white dividing line. As of its own compulsion, the car slowed as we passed the chapel with a slow, sweeping ease. The sun shone coolly through the avenue of trees, dappling the curving drive. Students strolled through the shade, down a hill of tender grass toward the brick-red stretch of tennis courts. Far beyond, players in whites showed sharp against the red of the court, surrounded by grass, a gay vista washed by the sun. In the brief interval, I heard a cheer arise. My predicament struck me like a stab. I had a sense of losing control of the car and slammed on the brakes in the middle of the road, then apologized and drove on.
Thank you. Abdul?
Yeah.
Thank you. That was great. So, did anyone be able to identify any form of figurative language in here? Yes.
So here it shows the highway. it says it was hostile as the Great Highway, so it's like
Yes.
personification.
Yes, because, or maybe another
Like a simile.
simile. Yes, yeah, because it was hostile as the gray highway. Good. Did anyone else have another kind of example? Okay. Yes.
It says, neat dormitories seem to threaten me.
Right. And what example of figurative language is that? Yes, personification, because the dormitories appeared threatening. Did anyone else have something different?
I found my predicament struck me like a stab, which is a simile. With like a stab.
Yeah, like as a simile. Yes,
Yeah.
because like a stab. Yes. No, Ashra? Is that your name?
Yeah, I had the same one.
Oh, you had the same as her. Okay. All right. Let's all turn ahead. These are great examples. Thank you so much. So let's turn ahead now to page 102. So turn to page 102 of your text. And I would like to begin kind of toward the end of this passage. It's in the phrase, just inside the building, I got another shock. Can I have a volunteer who would like to read this paragraph? Yes.
Just inside the building, I got another shock. As we approached a mirror, Dr. Bledsoe stopped and composed his angry face like a sculptor, making it a bland mask, leaving only the sparkle of his eyes to betray the emotion that I had seen only a moment before. He looked steadily at himself for a moment, and then we moved quietly down the silent hall and up the stairs. A co-ed sat at a graceful table stacked with magazines. Before a great window stood a large aquarium containing colored stones and a small replica of a feudal castle surrounded by goldfish that seemed to remain motionless despite the fluttering of their lacy fins. A momentary motion for the suspension of time. Is Mr. Norton in his room? He said to the girl. Yes, sir, Dr. Bledsoe, sir, she said. He said to tell you to come in when you got here. Pausing at the door, I heard him clear his throat, then rapped softly upon the panel with his fist. Mr. Norton, he said, his lips already a smile. And at the answer, I followed him inside.
Thank you. Are you Brian?
I'm Skyler.
You're what is your?
Skyler.
Skylar. Okay, yeah, sorry. Okay, thank you. That was great. Would someone else like to pick up here from "It was a large, light room"? Just read that one paragraph. Yes. Go ahead.
It was a large, light room. Mr. Norton sat in a huge wing chair with his jacket off. The change of clothing around the cold spread. Above a spacious fireplace, an oil portrait of the founder looked down at me remotely. Benign, sad, and in that hot instant, profoundly disillusioned. Then a veil seemed to fall.
Thank you. Yeah, that's. So we'll stop there. Did anyone find an example of either simile or personification in what we just read? Yes.
Towards the beginning of the passage,
Mhm.
it's composed his angry face like a sculptor.
Yes. What is that an example
Simile.
of? Simile. Yes, because he's likening Dr. Bledsoe to a sculptor. Any other examples? So I'll take one more other example of either simile or personification here. Yes.
Toward the end where it says, above a spacious fireplace,
Yeah.
an oil portrait of the founder looked down at me remotely. And that's it. So that's personification.
Yes, and that's an example I'm going to give later on. So why don't we all turn, I'll give to the page 105 of the text. And we can start with in the hall, fine dust played in a shaft of sunlight. So can I have someone volunteer? Yes.
In the hall, fine dust played in a shaft of sunlight, stirred by her hurried passing. She had disappeared. I thought to ask her to listen at the door and tell me what was said. I gave it up. If she were discovered, I'd have that on my conscience too. Besides, I was ashamed for anyone to know of my predicament. It was too stupid to be believed. Down the long length of the wide hall, I heard someone unseen skipping down the stairs singing, a girl's sweet, hopeful voice. I looked quietly and hurried to my door.
Thank you. You can stop there. That was great. Did anyone find another example of either simile or personification in here? Yes.
Fine dust played in a shaft of sunlight.
Right. And what is that an example of?
Personification.
Yes, because the fine dust is portrayed as playing in the sunlight. And I know you've all have read this chapter before, but I'll give kind of a brief summary of it. In it, the Invisible Man character is very nervous and frightened because he's in trouble because he took Mr. Norton to the Golden Day, and then he's in trouble with the, I guess, the headmaster of his college because he found out that he took Mr. Norton to the Golden Day and he wasn't supposed to do that because Mr. Norton was white and he got attacked while he was there, and the Invisible Man was responsible for that. So in this scene, he's actually visiting the administration building, and he's about to talk with Miss Dr. Bledsoe. So that's why there's so much in this chapter about Dr. Bledsoe, because this is mainly about the Invisible Man's conversation or confrontation with Dr. Bledsoe about the situation. And then there's also, toward the end, he's talks with Mr. Norton, and Mr. Norton kind of forgives him. So the next thing I would like you to do is I want you to do a small group activity. So I'm going to start by modeling it for you. So up here is an example of a dialectical journal. How many of you have done a dialectical journal before? Okay, yes. Okay, so a few of you know what it's like. So what I did was, in the left-hand column, I put an example of figurative language. So I put the quotation and the page number down. So I chose an example that, what is your name again, Abdul? Yeah, he already found it in the passage we just read. It's above a spacious fireplace, an oil portrait of the founder looked down at me remotely benign, sad, and in that hot instant profoundly disillusioned. And that is from page 103. So I put that in the left-hand column. And then in the right-hand column, I put the meaning of the figurative language. So what I could infer about either character, setting, or plot. So I put, the oil portrait reflects the disillusionment that the Invisible Man character feels at the college and the sad situation he finds himself in. So where he doesn't know what his fate is going to be. Is he going to remain at the college, or is he going to be expelled? So what I would like you to do is, in your rows, so you will just get together with members of your row, you're going to fill out a dialectical journal. I just want you to find 2 examples with the members of your group. And I'll keep this up on the board too, so you can kind of see how I do it. So in the left-hand column, you're going to put the quotation and the page number. And in the right-hand column, you're going to put what you can infer, or the meaning of the quotation. So I'm going to pass out the dialectical journal, and only one person, I just need one per group back. So just designate one person as the scribe or the writer. And if you have any, does anyone have any questions about this activity? Everyone understands? Okay, so I'll go ahead and pass out. I have enough, so I will give 1 paper per person, but I only am going to collect 1 per group. So, yes, you 4 can work together. You can move your desks. Would you like to move your desks so you can work better? Or, okay, so you can move your desks kind of in, group them together so you can work as a group. I think I wanted you working in your rows, but would it be better if you worked, maybe just having, why don't we just have the first 4 people here work as a group? So you can kind of move your desks together. You 4 can work as a group, so just kind of cluster your desks together. And then you 4 back there. So that'll be easier. Rather than doing rows, we'll just have you cluster your desks together. Okay. Yes, what is your question?
Are we allowed to use the examples we just discussed in class?
Yes, you can use any of the examples you discussed already, just don't use this example that I put on the board. That's the one, but you can use any other example. Sorry, okay.
Should we just work in our rows?
Yeah, you can work in your rows, and then, you can work, you 2 can work as a group.
Wait. Do we said just 1?
No, we each get 1
Can all of you work as one group? Okay, all right. And would you mind working with them? Yeah, as a group? Okay, so you'll be just like a large group?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Okay. That's fine. I'll start there.
And I'll come around and circulate and just listen to your ideas.
So is it all 6 of us?
Yeah.
No, we only have return.
And everyone knows what group they're going to be in? Okay, do you all have your, okay.
We could do in the hall, find us, play, and
So take about, I'll give you about maybe 7 minutes.
Page 105.
Well, let's do it reverse.
What's on 105?
I mean, the last
The changing of the text.
So I have to turn into I can't do that.
Yeah. Page 105. In the hall, find us played in the shaft of sunlight, stirred by the hurried passing.
the last passage you read.
Alright. Just let me know if you have any questions.
I didn't know you write it. Only one
Do you
person
guys
to write
have
it.
a quotation, or do you need help on that?
I'm not
Oh, great,
sure.
okay, so that we, alright, and you know that you can, what's kind of quotation you're gonna put for the meeting?
Yeah.
Alright, so,
What can you infer about the characters that are not real?
played in a shaft.
Like, how are you doing? You can just, just check that.
How, like, in a rush
If you want to
to
add
go
it
to
to
place,
another
like, almost like it made dust, like, at the
Do you
place.
need help
sort of sense.
finding it? You found it already? Okay, great.
You can
Okay.
that's her happy.
Yeah, like he's like setting himself up.
Like the
How are you
nurse
guys
doing
doing? Great, okay.
she just asked.
Oh yeah, she's talking.
Okay, she's yeah.
And there was a baby. So Blade, I think Blade was you because like playful is to have.
Yeah, it's like a light word.
Sounds like really
Take about 5 more minutes.
Yeah, so it's a simile and a
So we need to find some.
You can always use the first sentence in the next
Look at the shaft of sunlight.
Like when sunlight comes through the window and you see the little dust things in the sunlight. Do you not look through windows?
Have you ever been driving down the road in like the evening and then you see like the
Yeah.
lines of sunlight?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
the
that's
shaft.
the shaft. What do you write?
Investigating return of
It could be like
Yeah.
nice
Is
future.
that it?
Yeah. That's good.
I think that
Probably just
five.
needs to. Sounds good.
attention to the
Where?
the tension grip. That's and it signifies his nervousness over
I love to see
why he's in trouble.
And so it how like has a control over him through the word grip.
and how much he regrets.
It's like his foreshadowing.
The grass is green. That's good. So organized. I'll just rip it
Take
out.
about 2 more minutes. Is that going to be enough time? 2 more minutes? Okay, great, yes.
We have to write all of our names on it. We can just write everything. It's fine.
Oh no, how do you sit here?
So
There's no footrest.
I don't have one.
This sucks.
And make sure, if you're done, make sure all your names are at the top. I just want to make sure to put all your group members' names on the top. If you're finished, put all your group members' names to the top. And 1 more minute.
I think it's
Are you ready to turn? Okay, all right.
Oh, I do that.
Yeah, put all your group members' names on there. So if you're finished, put all your group members' names at the top of the page, and then I'll collect one per group. Okay, can I have one group share what one of their responses was? Does one group want to volunteer to share? Yeah, go ahead.
One of our responses were the rolling lawns appearing as hostile as the gray highway with its white dividing line.
Good. And what is the meaning of that?
The quote has both simile and personification. It connects feelings to inanimate objects as well as imagery.
Oh, good. Okay. And what can you infer about the Invisible Man character based on that quote? What can you kind of infer about his mental state?
Divided.
He feels kind of divided. Good. Yeah. Great analysis. Anyone else want to share one more quotation? Yes. Go ahead.
We used one on page 1. We used one on page 105. It says, "In the hall, fine dust played in a shaft of sunlight stirred by her hurried passing," and it's kind of how she's feeling with her relationship and being happy because she can go meet him later, and it's opposing with his feelings of extreme tension.
Great, that's excellent analysis. So it's kind of contrasting the feelings of the Invisible Man to the feelings of the woman, the co-ed he meets in the at the building.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, I'm going to collect your handouts now, your dialectical journals, and then for the last part of this assignment, while I'm collecting this, I want you to take just a few minutes to write your exit ticket. I'm going to give you your exit ticket handout, and you're just going to write a short response, just explaining, based on this quote, what kind of figurative language does Ellison use, and what message does the figurative language convey. Some of you may have already chosen this quote as your example, so you should just write a few sentences about this. It's a very short response. So just take about just a few minutes to work on this exit ticket. And then if you do finish early, I do have 2 reader response journals. So if you finish a little bit early, you can write in the reader response journal a QB about chapter 4, or you can think about another article, short story, or poem that you've read that you can compare. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's it. This is optional, but this is the exit ticket. I'm not sure how to go. Let me click it back to the exit ticket. Yeah, there it is. Okay, and it's actually on your handout, so I'm going to pass this out. And the question for the exit ticket will take about a few minutes to write a short response, and I'll collect your dialectical journals. And then I'll take your journals. Thank you. Yeah, just one person. Yeah. And if you have any questions or need assistance, just raise your hand while you're doing the exit ticket. I'll take your journal. Thank you. What? Extra. Yes, extra. Okay. And I'll take your journal.
The journal.
She has.
The exit ticket? And I'll just take any blank copies. Yeah, you can give back to me. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, any extra exit tickets or journals, I'll take back. Yeah.
We didn't get it.
Oh, okay. There's 2 more. Yeah. Okay. All right. And thank you. And I'll give the last for and you can pass this up. Thank you. Take a few minutes to silently and independently write a short response to the question at the top of your exit ticket. And if you have any questions, just raise your hand. And it's a quotation about Dr. Bledsoe. take about 1 more minute. And if you don't finish, it's all right. And if you're done, just put your pencil down, and I'll come and collect your exit ticket. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Are you finished? Thank you. And I'll just come around and collect your. Thank you. It's great. I look forward to reading these. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right.